You said Jesus, you said what? The Father? It's the Father at this point. Because He's the one still in charge, remember? So the Father's the one still giving the directions. And here's an interesting question that I came up with. How would our culture interpret God's judging and the sentence passed? What would our culture say about what God is doing?
Unjust.
It's unjust. That's right. Because only I know what is just. And so if you're doing something that I don't think is just, then you're not just. And that's what they would say about God at this point. In fact, they do say that about God. That God is not just because He's not doing it my way. Now, whose way is just? God's is. And we as Christians have got to understand that we may think that we know better than God, but we don't. So we need to be able to stop passing judgment on the things that God does and accept them for what they are. The truth, judgment is just and true, and we accept and we go on from there. But that's what our culture will not do. And since we won't go with the culture, they are now against Christianity. Because Christianity will not bow to the culture. And the people of the culture don't like that. Just kind of a word for next week, if you are reading ahead, chapters 17 and 18. Some of the cast of characters will be revealed. They'll actually tell us who they are. But you've got to think about what was happening in John's day. Because that really is the key. John is seeing things through the lens of the 90 AD. And the things that are going on in the world at that point in time. So don't fall into the trap of trying to figure out what modern day city Babylon is. Because we all want to do that. Well, Babylon's the one that is going to get whacked by God. So let's figure out which one Babylon is so we can stay away. We really don't know. And it really doesn't matter. Babylon might be representative of a whole lot of things. But just be careful of that, because we really don't know what the present city is. And that's okay. All right, going on then. The fourth angel poured his bowl on the sun, and it was allowed to scorch people with fire. They were scorched by the fierce heat, but they cursed the name of God, who had authority over these plagues, and they did not repent and give him glory. The fifth angel poured his bowl on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom was plunged into darkness. People gnawed their tongues in agony and cursed the God of heaven because of their pains and sores, and they did not repent of their deeds. The sixth angel poured his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up in order to prepare the way for the kings from the east. And I saw three foul spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, from the mouth of the beast, and from the mouth of the false prophet. These are demonic spirits performing signs who go abroad to the kings of the whole world to assemble them for battle on the great day of God the Almighty. See, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake and is clothed, not going about naked and exposed to shame. And they assembled them at the place that in Hebrew is called Armageddon, or Armageddon as we would say it. Okay, where are we looking? Heaven or earth? Earth. Still we're looking at earth. As we're talking about the sun, and we're talking about the throne that's here on the earth, the river Euphrates. What is the response of the people to the fourth bowl, which is the one that scorched them with heat? What is their response?
They did not repent.
Yeah, they're not giving in. They didn't repent. They just got angry at what God was doing. Does that sound like our culture? Yes, it does, doesn't it? how did the people respond to the fifth bowl, which was the one that was plunged into darkness? They were gnawing their tongues in agony.
Didn't repent.
Did not repent. You know, how much does God have to do to get people's attention to say, I'm in charge? God's in charge. What does God's enemy do to counter God's work? In this passage, the dragon and the beast and the false prophet all did something to kind of counter what it was that God was doing. What came out of their mouths? Demonic spirits. That then were sent into the whole world. And why were the demonic spirits sent into the whole world?
Kings.
To prepare for war. To deceive the kings of the world, that they might prepare for war against God himself. And that was their response to what God is doing. All right, last part then. Goes like this. The seventh angel poured his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple from the throne, saying, It is done. I like that. It is done. Pure and simple. And there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a violent earthquake, such as had not occurred since the people were upon the earth. So violent was that earthquake. The great city was split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. God remembered great Babylon and gave her the wine cup of the fury of his wrath. And every island fled away, and no mountains were to be found. And huge hailstones, each weighing about 100 pounds, dropped from heaven on people until they cursed God for the plague of hail. So fearful is that plague. Now they're not just not repenting. Now they're cursing God. And it sounds to me like God is really doing the number on the creation that we call this earth, because it's being shaken to its roots. The mountains are tumbling down. Hailstones are coming and bombarding the planet. I mean, this is great science fiction stuff, isn't it? Except this isn't science fiction. This is what is to come. So, we will either be prepared or we won't be. The only way we can prepare ourselves is by accepting the gift of forgiveness that Jesus Christ gives to us. Okay, so where are we looking? Still looking at the earth, aren't we? And what is done?
Earth is done.
Okay, God's destroying it all, isn't he? And how do the people that are still living respond?
Curse God.
Now they're cursing God. So, final question is this. What does that tell us about original sin? You're going to have to think on this one. What does their response tell us about original sin? First of all, what is original sin? The original sin is, it's all about me. That's the original sin. I'm in charge. I'm the one that makes the decisions. Eve made the decision to go against God and eat that fruit that was there. That was the original sin. I am in charge now and God isn't. Although that's never true. But they deceived themselves into thinking that. So if the original sin was, it's all about me, how does this passage let us see original sin?
Still thinking about themselves.
Because it's all about me still. That's why I'm going to curse you, God. Because you're not making it easy for me. You're making it hard for me. Why don't you make it easy, God? Because I want the original sin. And God, you're not giving it, so I will curse you. And that's still happening today. That's happening all around the world, but especially in America. People are not receiving what they want from God, and so they curse God and say God must not be real. Have you ever heard the story of Aladdin's lamp? Where he found a lamp and he rubbed it, and what happened?
Got 3 wishes.
Genie came out. What did the genie say?
3 wishes.
I'll give you 3 wishes. And then the rest of the story is about the 3 wishes. People that do not have a relationship with God through Jesus Christ think of God as a genie. I'm going to rub God with a little bit of prayer. I expect God to pop out, give me the 3 things that I want, and then go away and leave me alone. Isn't that human nature? But it's not the divine nature that lives within us. We know that God doesn't work that way. But people in the world don't understand that. So I just want to be real careful and clear that this stuff would happen today. It is happening today. Things are going wrong in the world, and instead of people saying, God, forgive us for what we're doing, they're cursing God, shaking their fist at God. So the book of Revelation really isn't much different than today. It actually is a commentary on the culture of today. I hate to say it, but it's true. Any other questions, comments?
Well, each time they had the plagues, it sounded like they had the opportunity to repent after the angel.
They've had opportunities to repent.
Well, I know, way back, but even
Whole
during
time.
this time, it sounded like they had opportunity to repent.
Well, they did.
Okay.
But there were other times in the book of Revelation
Right.
that they were given opportunities.
These were the last time.
Yeah, this is
Last
it.
time.
There is no more times to repent after this one. You either repent or you don't. To me what that says is these people's hearts are so hard, they're not going to repent. They have already so turned away from God that there is no going back. It's not that God would not accept them, God would accept them. They're just not going there. And so they curse God.
What happened to the good people?
Oh, they're already up in heaven. They've been up there for a long time. Whatever that means. We're really not sure of time frame. We're not sure of time frame in the book of Revelation because sometimes it folds back on itself and looks kind of backwards in history and comes forward again. And so what I've done is to quit trying to follow all that stuff